I thought it couldn't be done. How do you separate dialogue from the rest of the action? There's guns going off, there's bombs exploding, there's the roar of the crowd, all put together into the same soundtrack with the actors. Now, years ago, they punched up the sound of the actors and they reduced the sound of the background. But today, the goal is to give that real surround sound, make it feel like you're right there in the middle of the battle, in the middle of the game, in the middle of anything. Problem is, many people don't hear as well. And they can't hear the dialogue. How do you enjoy a movie when you can't hear the dialogue? Like I said, I thought it couldn't be done. A system that can actually pull the voices so you're watching television and you can hear what the actors are saying. A system that can intensify that and push the rest of the soundtrack to the background. Well, I was at a recent press event, and this company, ZVOX, has done that. That's the ZVOX soundbar. I showed you the front, I showed you the back. You can see there are very little places to plug things in. It's that simple to set up. And it has something called AccuVoice and SuperVoice. And what these do to different degrees is they pull the sound of the actors, they push it forward, and they push the rest of the soundtrack back. They intensify so you can actually hear what actors are saying. Now, the goal is, if you go with this, is once you set it up, is to find a comfortable level for the people in the household who are hard of hearing, who want to hear better what the actors are saying, and the younger people in the house who want to hear the explosions with the intensity that the director intended. And you do that by trying out the different AccuVoice channels going from 1 through 6, and if necessary, the SuperVoice channels that also go through 1 through 6. And you find that kind of happy medium. I am now going to have Tom Hanaher, founder and CEO of ZVOX, explain what this technology is all about. So why the sad face? I actually had 2 minutes of video that I shot showing how effective the ZVOX can be, but because of a copyright claim, I had to remove it. At this point in time, I'm going to turn the video over to Tom Hanaher. This Tom.
My name's Tom Hanaher, and as mentioned, 18 years ago, I founded ZVOX Audio because the consumer electronics industry had gone home theater crazy and was selling all these 7-speaker systems with 1 million wires and an owner's manual the size of a small town phone book. And I thought we needed to simplify things. And so we created these small, simple, 1-box, 1-wire home theater systems. What was interesting is we got feedback from our customers early on that said a whole bunch of them didn't really care about surround sound and bass and the home theater experience. They were buying our systems for a different reason. They couldn't understand what was being said on TV. And this made us start to think. So if you could start the slideshow now, that would be good. So I'm here to talk about how and why ZVOX reinvented TV sound by adding hearing aid technology. And the clicker doesn't seem to be, oh, there we go. The United States is experiencing a hidden epidemic that affects 95 million people. Basically, they can't understand what people are saying on TV. I don't know how many of you out there have ever had to turn on closed captioning, or more commonly, just lean over to the person next to you and say, what did he say? Because you couldn't understand the voices on a TV show. But it's crazy, and there's 3 reasons why. One, Hollywood and sports broadcasters, even news broadcasters, have changed their mixing techniques. If you watch the movie Casablanca, even in the big shootout session in Rick's Cafe, you'll hear every word of dialogue. But there's no Academy Award for clear dialogue. There's an Academy Award for dramatic soundtracks. And that's what you get in most movies and TV shows, is the soundtrack, the sound effects take dominance and they drown out the voices. And if you Google garbled TV dialogue or garbled movie dialogue, you will literally get millions of hits. There's been coverage from the Wall Street Journal, the LA Times, all kinds of places about how movies and TV shows, even football games where they feed the crowd noise in, you can't understand voices anymore. The second reason is really obvious, that as TVs got thinner and thinner, so did the sound. The picture quality didn't get any worse, but frankly, the sound quality of a 1952 console television was better than in a $4,000 UHD TV that you buy now. The average speaker being used in a TV costs about 35 cents and is about the size of a dime. And because of design problems, they actually face backwards or downwards as opposed to at the listeners. So the sound quality is terrible. Third, this all happened, the bad mixing and the bad TV speakers, just as 95 million Americans hit an age where all of a sudden their ears aren't working very well. And unlike our parents, because I'm in this group for sure, my parents grew up listening to Perry Como and Fred Waring and Frank Sinatra. In 1967, I saw The Who at the Fargo Civic Auditorium, and my ears rang for 4 days afterwards. And I went over and over again to see bands like that. So you got a bunch of bad mixing techniques combined with bad TV speakers and bad ears that are finally maturing to the point where they need help, and you've got a crisis. Enter ZVOX, the company that ZVOX CNET has perfected the soundbar. We've reinvented TV again, and we've done something really pretty simple. It's amazing. We added hearing aid technology to a series of amplified speakers and soundbars. And we did it in a way that's patented because we applied this manipulation of sound only to the voices. We found a way to extract the voices from the soundtrack, manipulate them like a hearing aid does, then mix them back in with the unmanipulated music, background noise, explosions, everything else, so that you hear everything else naturally, but you get voices that are more pronounced by lifting them out and isolating them. This really, really works. Our current models have between 6 and 12 ranges or levels of dialogue boost. So you can match the performance and voice boosting characteristics of the speaker to your actual needs of your ears. This is so successful that in the last 3 years, we've sold over 350,000 AccuVoice soundbars, and we do not have a presence on the main floor of any big box retailer. So we're doing this by selling it direct through Amazon, through Home Shopping Network, and through a few other websites. It is an immensely popular concept that nobody knows about. Key product number one that I want to talk about is our current flagship AV157 AccuVoice soundbar with 12 levels of dialogue boost, including our latest technology, which is called Super Voice. So AccuVoice makes the words clearer and easier to understand with our patented technology. Super Voice then takes those highlighted voices and subdues the background noises, making the other parts of the soundtrack less pronounced for people that have even more severe hearing issues. And that's $199.99 street price over your own speakers, but this is it.
Didn't really have much to go on.
Well, this is from Peru, and only these ceramic pieces are associated with notable figures.
Wow, my grandfather did travel the world when he was younger.
Well, this find is from the 1500s, and it depicts a Peruvian coffee bean farmer, as you can see. He was an influential member of the village, and these types of pieces have been found in pre-Columbian sites, such as temples and ruins, so it makes it a real good treasure.
That's amazing.
I know, I'm very pleased to tell you that this figurine today.
So that's a brief demo. I've covered most of the bases.